Hey, what is up, people? It is your boy Johnny. Welcome to another Nintendo Switch 2 video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about backwards compatibility performance on the Nintendo Switch 2. So one of the things that I want to mention and cover in this video is that basically a lot of games that gain a performance boost on the Nintendo Switch 2, but there is currently an issue where I think that Nintendo needs to actually patch up in order for the handheld mode on the Nintendo Switch to get that performance boost. So if you guys haven't played a couple of games like Borderlands or Borderlands 3, I'm not sure if the prequel game that I'm playing right now is patched or not, but basically on Borderlands 3, if you play it on docked mode, you're going to get 60 frames per second, which is a big advantage. But however, when you take it off of docked mode into handheld on the Nintendo Switch 2, you're only going to get like 30 frames per second in handheld mode. Now, this may be something like, oh, it's going to say battery and stuff and a lot of stuff. But these games are really old. Some of these games are like really old. And I think that the Nintendo Switch 2 is a much more powerful console than the Nintendo Switch 1. Which, honestly, they need to patch it up on the handheld side of things. Or put an option where you can increase the performance like docked mode on handheld. Even if the battery discharges faster. Because the Nintendo Switch 2 has gotten to the point where it is a more powerful console now, and it needs that performance boost in certain games while you're playing in handheld mode. Because if you played like the Steam Deck, some games even run at 60 FPS with no issues, even though it's on handheld mode on the Steam Deck. But I think that this is a major opportunity for Nintendo to rectify this issue because certain games will not need that patch of 60 FPS to run. If you guys have watched several videos in the past where Nintendo Switches have gotten hacked or modified with homebrew, people did like mods to the games, and they really didn't need any kind of update. They just needed an overclock on the CPU, which will allow them to get a couple more frames when they were docked. So that's what I'm trying to get at with this, is that basically some games, kind of like a PC, will run it better if it's docked. But on handheld mode, it should be able to run it pretty decent as well. And I think the prequel sequel of Borderlands games is running 60 FPS because of the way the game was developed. It feels way faster. I did a video earlier, like a YouTube short, and honestly, it felt like it was lagging more, but now it feels way better when I got it in docked mode. But when I play in handheld mode, this game really is not good on handheld mode. Like, the 30 FPS is just, it's just really annoying, and you can definitely notice it. These kind of games are better off when they're in 60 FPS. Now, it is really awesome that Borderlands now is running properly on the Nintendo Switch. I personally don't think it's always been a demanding game, but it was pretty demanding for the Nintendo Switch 1. So now for the Nintendo Switch 2, it's more powerful. Now, I don't know how Nintendo will work this out, but personally, they might not even work it out at all. They might just force the developers just to make a patch or an update to do 60 FPS in handheld mode. Because I'm pretty sure the developers now can actually do patches where games can run at 60 FPS in handheld mode. So that could be a thing, but if you guys remember on PlayStation, sometimes you didn't even have to do all of that, to be honest. So I think it would just be beneficial if they actually do a patch themselves. That way certain games will run better on 60 FPS mode. Kind of like PlayStation Boost mode. But, you know, I don't know if Nintendo will do it. I think they should, because they're really missing out on that extra performance in certain games that should have that extra performance, especially with older games. Personally, I feel like this is like the Switch Pro, in my opinion. I know people say Switch Pro, even though it is the Switch 2, which is the new generation, but honestly, the transition doesn't feel that much different from the Switch 1, except for the performance boost. If you guys know what I'm talking about, if you played the Switch, you know it's mainly like a performance boost, and you still got your older games on there. But it just would be a nice thing for them to do for everybody that's been gaming on the Switch too. Just go ahead and allow certain games without needing the patch, because some of these developers are probably going to be too lazy to even update their games to 60 FPS or even better optimizations for the Nintendo Switch 2. And some will actually do the optimizations, which they have in certain titles. I think Nintendo has done it on a lot of titles, but most developers won't, for the most part, I would assume, especially on older games or certain game studios that don't even exist anymore. But yeah, I think a lot of the Nintendo Switch 1 titles, even if they are always locked in at 30 FPS, because I know some of them are locked in at 30 FPS due to like the coding in the game. Some of them are locked up into the coding of the game. And if the developers would just switch the coding by making a patch, a lot of them I'm pretty sure can run at 60 FPS. Um, like the Arkham games on the Nintendo Switch were really bad. Some of the Batman games, but then on the Nintendo Switch 2, they run way better, at least at stable 30 FPS frames per second. And that's without any optimization. So I think if they do a lot of optimization, I think we will be definitely in the right path for future games to run and better on the Nintendo Switch. Well, backwards compatible games. However, as you guys may know, a lot of developers also they tend to milk things and they probably don't even update the games. They probably would just like be like, you know what, we're not updating the games, but you can buy the second version or the $10 upgrade, which is fine for the most part, but I think they shouldn't really do it for every single game. I think that would kind of suck if they just do the upgrade patch and make you pay for it. But you know, it all can be monetized. You know, nowadays they're monetizing everything. I mean, Zelda honestly had to you literally had to pay a $10 upgrade. But I don't entirely blame Nintendo because I mean, if you think about it, PlayStation 5 kind of did a lot of upgrades for like Ghost of Tsushima for like $10 or 15 or 20 if I recall. But at least they gave us the DLC for a lot of it, so I don't blame them. There might be games where they just need to pay for the upgrade or for the system to run the games better. But overall, that's my final opinions. I think this is a big issue with the backwards compatibility. It might not be an issue if you're playing in docked mode, because obviously in docked mode you're gonna get everything. You're gonna get the games that benefit from it in docked mode. But in handheld mode, it's kind of locked into it. I mean, it's literally kind of like the same programming of the other OS. Maybe a few different things, but honestly, it really does feel the same. I've been playing the Switch too, and I really like it. It's a really good console if you can afford it at this point. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Make sure to hit the like button and the subscribe button. Peace out.